So welcome. My name is Ryan Gorsiski. I am the Student Services Manager for the Material Science and Engineering Department and major. Today is your Aggie advising presentation. This kind of starts the last leg of your orientation process, admissions process. You should have all completed Aggie 101 by now. If you haven't, I encourage you to complete that later today, and I'll include a link to that at the end of our presentation. Today, we're going to go over a couple different things more specific to your department than to UC Davis, because Aggie 101 does act as that introduction to UC Davis. Today with me is Cindy from our engineering undergrad office. She's helping me out, and I'll explain why I need a little help in a few minutes here. If at any time you have any questions, comments, and concerns, please feel free to raise your hand or use the chat feature. Cindy will be monitoring both of those to let me know if you have a question. This is really we are a relatively small number, so feel free to chat and let me know, and I'll take breaks and explain anything we need to explain again. So let's go ahead and jump right in. So welcome. Today we'll do an overview of who we are again, provide some degree requirements, explain academic advising in a little bit more detail, as that is our main form of communication and engagement between us, registration, some tips for being successful in engineering, and an open Q&A at the end. But again, you're more than welcome to ask your questions at any time during the presentation. So first off, myself, I was born and raised in Petaluma, California, just north of the Bay. I attended Casa Grande High School, Santa Rosa Junior College, and Sac State down the Causeway. I graduated from Sac State twice, once in an undergrad in criminal justice and once in a master's in higher education leadership and policy study back in 2018. I recently joined UC Davis as of last year in January 2020. I currently live in Midtown Sacramento with my partner and my one-eyed cat named Odin, who may or may not join us, though right now he's very comfortable chilling somewhere else in my apartment. I enjoy axe throwing, archery, sailing, hanging out with friends, reading, video games, and movies. The reason Cindy is here to help us today is because your other advisor, Maria, just had a baby as of last week. She just gave birth. So very understandably, she is not here today. She is out on maternity leave, but she will be back relatively soon and in time for fall. So you'll get a chance to meet her. She's pretty awesome. A little bit about her. She was born in Mexico, but grew up in Tula Lake, California, which is kind of just a small town, 10 minutes from Oregon. She moved to Davis in 2013 and graduated in spring 2017. Has been with the department since July 2019. She just graduated also with her master's in higher education and leadership and policy study from Sac State just a few weeks ago. So she had a very busy few weeks here. She enjoys spending time with her family, her husband, her new baby boy, and her 4 siblings. There is another member of your advising team whose official position is the undergrad program coordinator. That actually used to be my old position. I recently was promoted to the grad coordinator, but I also still help out with undergrad. That position will be filled by the end of fall, or by the start of fall. So you'll have your full advising team back up and running no later than September. So don't worry, we'll be here to help you out. These are the 3 majors that your advising team is responsible for. Obviously, your material science and engineering, but we are unique in the College of Engineering that your advising office is responsible for 2 departments: the Department of Chemical Engineering, which houses the biochemical and chemical engineering majors. And we also are responsible for the Department of Material Science and Engineering, which obviously holds the material science engineering major and minor. So just to give you a kind of little background, because you will be cross-pollinating with those students and faculty from those majors as you share some classes. Biochemical engineering makes products that use biological resources such as living cells, enzymes, and biochemicals in a way that's safe, economical, and environmentally responsible. Some areas of application are biopharmaceuticals, biofuels, food and beverages, biomaterials, industrial enzymes, and biochemicals. Chemical engineering is the transformation of one form of matter into another form of matter in a way that's safe, economical, and environmentally responsible. Areas of application are energy, design, control, chemical processes, environment, engineering, consumer products, and design and processing of foods. And then for your major, material science and engineering, in case you don't know, is the study of structure, properties, and performance of materials in order to create new materials and adapt existing materials for new uses. And some common areas of applications, and these aren't all of them, are material processing, magnetic thin films, fuel cells, nanotechnology, and material for extreme environment. And something that's coming up recently is also biotech is an area that we've been using a lot. So kind of what happens if you're not sure? We recommend you take one of the intro classes. So chemical engineering and chemical engineering 1 are the intro classes to chemical and biochemical engineering. Chemical engineering 80 being offered in the fall, chemical engineering 1 being offered every quarter. 1 is a design of coffee class where you learn how to brew the perfect cup of coffee, which is a popular class for those of us who like coffee. And then EMS 2, which is your first material science course, is Materials and Marvels, the Science of Superheroes. That's offered in the winter. And actually, I want to show you, if you've done some exploring of the links I've sent to you previously,
Hello there.
You will see a familiar video that I'm about to show you. So let me switch over. And please let me know if it doesn't work audio-wise or video-wise.
Castro here at University of California, Davis. And today we are engineering superheroes. You're all familiar with the iconic item from Marvel Universe, the Captain America shield. And today we're going to build a new one, something that really can stop the heat, stop Iron Man blaster from hurting Captain America. So how do we do that? Well, with materials engineering. So what we're going to do, we have this plastic material here, this plastic shield that you can actually get for a costume party or anything. And basically we're coating this with ceramic fibers. So the ceramic fiber is basically an excellent insulator, and it's going to block the heat from going from this side to this side. So whoever is on this side of the shield will get protected from it. And whoever is on the other side, well, that will be blasting me, I guess. So it's probably my enemy. I'll be safe. I do trust materials engineering. I know that the shield will actually protect me. But, just in case, I'm going to use some heat-proof vest and a face shield just to make sure. Of course, one of the reasons also is that with this vest, I look like a superhero. So it's going to be okay. So see the magic of materials engineering here at UC Davis. So let's think about what else can we do.
So that's kind of what you do in material science 2. I can't promise all of you will get the chance to try to use a flamethrower on your professors, but one of you may get lucky. That is the 3rd or 4th shield he's built. They've gone through a couple different ones, so it's always room for improvements. Some other introduction courses, if you're not interested or want to see other majors outside of chemical, biochemical, and material science, there is engineering 1 that's offered every fall, and that covers all the different College of Engineering majors. Most introduction courses are only offered in fall and winter, so I encourage, if you are exploring, to do it early. But there are courses called freshman seminars, which are like 1 to 2 unit courses that cover a wide range of topics. including bike maintenance, which is taught by one of your material science professors, to pretty much any subject any professor would like to teach. They're offered every quarter, and they're really fun, interesting classes, which I encourage you to take a look at. Those get released closer, though, to fall. So once we know what those classes are in the fall, I will be sending that email list out to everyone. Another good resource for finding majors or finding a new major or exploring your own major is the Internship and Career Center, as it's a good way to figure out what you would like to do post-graduation. Sometimes that gets forgotten in the fun and excitingness of higher education. So I encourage you to plan post-graduation and take a look at it, see if your job would require you to travel, or if it's something you can do remotely or locally. If money is a very big goal, though, to be honest, as an engineer, that you're not going to be lacking money at post-graduation. But these are kind of things the Internship and Career Services Center can help you determine. Also, a great resources, the student organizations. So the three main ones for our three majors is American Institution of Chemical Engineering, AICHE. Yours is Material Advantage Student Chapter, MASC. I encourage you all to join MASC. And then for biochemical, or if you're into biotech, International Society of Pharmaceutical Engineering is also a great resource. So kind of to give you a snapshot of an enrollment, we are a relatively super small major. There isn't much cons to that. Just depends on your perspective. The pros are you'll pretty much be a very close-knit class. Your incoming class is roughly 53 students. You are our biggest incoming class since material science has been offered here at UC Davis. So welcome. You do make up currently 1/3 of our student population because you are so large. We are roughly about 150 students. What that means is your faculty will get to know you pretty well, and you'll get to know each other pretty well. This is not a major you can do by yourself or in a vacuum. It very much is one that requires group work and collaboration. And due to us being so small, that will be relatively easy to do. Your final class is a group project, so I encourage you to start experimenting with different group formatations to find the best ones you work with. You'll have 4 years to determine that, though, so I encourage you all to reach out to each other. Form a Discord is a very popular one. We have a Facebook group as well that you can use to connect with each other. So I encourage you to reach out. All right, next we're going to go over the degree requirements for the bachelor degree, including university, general education, college, and major. This is where things start getting very technical. If you have any questions, even if they're individual questions for yourself, please feel free to chat them to myself or Cindy. If you don't feel comfortable saying them to everyone, you can privately chat us as well, and we'll just respond anonymously to the group. So feel free to share. So first is the university requirements. So the first requirement is the entry-level writing requirement. This can be satisfied before coming to UC Davis, but it can also be satisfied when starting in the fall here at UC Davis. To satisfy it before coming to UC Davis, you would have done one of a few things, either taking the UC Davis Writing Placement Survey, passed the SAT or ACT with a high enough score, received a certain score on the AP or IB English exam, passed a college level English course already with a C or higher. If you had an advanced high school program or you already attended a community college or university, those are some popular ways that is completed. Some of your high schools may have offered the analytical writing placement exam, which is just a one-shot, one-take exam that you can do in your senior year to satisfy the entry-level writing requirement. If you didn't pass the entry-level writing requirement or haven't done any of those ways I've offered, like I said, you can do it here at UC Davis. The first option, and the highly recommended option, is taking UWP 7, 7Y, or 7YM, which is a kind of like a prep English class. It just take a quarter's worth of English. Another example is you can take a 2-unit supplementary class in addition to your lower division writing class. So UWP 1A, English 3A, and NSA 5A are 2-unit courses that you take alongside UWP 1, English 3, or NSA 5. And I'll explain what those are in a few slides. That would be a 6-unit course to satisfy both your entry-level writing requirement and your lower division writing requirement. That is not strongly recommended because if you're taking math and chemistry, which I'll explain in a little bit as well, that might be a lot of classes to take your first quarter here at UC Davis. Other non-popular options are Workload 57, which is a 4.5 non-credit bearing course offered through our community college nearby, Sac City College. It doesn't help you in terms of graduation, in terms of units, and depending on your financial aid, may not even assist you with financial aid. So that's why we don't recommend it. It hasn't been offered this past year, and it's still unsure if it's going to be officially offered in the fall. Right now it's on the books, but if you're going to take that or the 4-unit UC online course, WR39A, I encourage you to talk to myself or Cindy, and we'll help you out. Failure to satisfy the entry-level writing requirement by the end of your 3rd quarter, so the end of spring or your first year, will result in disenrollment from the university. So it's important that you satisfy this as early as possible. And to find out more, you can click on the link elw.ucdavis.edu or just type into Google UC Davis entry-level writing requirement, or talk to us during your Aggie advising appointments. I did have a question come in. Does English language and composition 5 count? We'll have to take a look. I can check the AP chart. The next step after this presentation is you all will be required to meet with me during Aggie advising for an appointment where I have developed an academic plan for you, which will go live at the end of today, based off your AP scores, IP score, any college credit, and your placement exam. So during that presentation or that one-on-one appointment, I'll go over our personal recommendations for you for what classes you should take, and we can make any adjustments as you see fit. So other university requirements include the American History Institution. Most of you may have completed this during your high school if you took American History or US History. If you're an international student, you may have not satisfied this, but it's easily satisfied here at UC Davis. You can take it alongside your GEs, and we'll help you figure that which course counts for that. Unit requirement. This isn't an issue for material science students or any college engineering students, but there's a minimum of 180 units required for graduation. I'll explain why that isn't an issue in a few slides, but short version, you're going to take a lot of classes that most students graduate with about 200 units after 4 years. Residency requirements. So this one's a little tricky if you don't understand it. This does not mean you have to live on campus. That's a very popular question I have. You do not have to live on campus. It just means your last 35 out of your last 45 units have to be taken at UC Davis, so they cannot be transfer courses. So you can't transfer courses in from another UC or community college your senior year and for your entire senior year for it to count. Your last 3 quarters need to be mostly UC Davis. And scholarship requirement, we do require at least a minimum of 2.0 GPA. During Aggie 101, it should be explaining what good standing is, academic probation. This is where, but if you ever feel like you're at risk and your GPA is lowering, please feel free to reach out to my office or Cindy's office, the engineering undergrad office. We both work collaboratively together, discussing your academic probation. And we do, and I encourage you to meet with an advisor every other quarter because we are a small department. We can actually meet every other quarter, so it's pretty easy to just check in during our drop-in hours and ask how things are going. So GEs. So I'll provide a specific to material science GE worksheet in a second, but you have to do 32 units of arts and humanities and social science. Topical breadth. So GEs are broken into two areas. Topical breadth, which is broken down into three sections: A, arts and humanities; B, science and engineering; and C, social science. And you see the abbreviations there: AH, SE, and SS. That's the number one way we talk about things. For each of those sections, you need at least 12 units. They max out at 20 units. And for all three of them, you need to have a combined total of 52 units. So if you did the bare minimum on each of them, obviously you would not reach that 52 units. So I encourage you to use the worksheet that I'm about to link to track that. And then for your core literacies, as you can see with all the thumbs up, we cover most of that with your major as well. So core literacies are broken off into 4 sections as well. Literacy in words and images, civic and cultural literacies, quantitative literacy, and scientific literacy. And those have subsections within them. But those will all be satisfied by your major, so you don't have to worry about it. The only one you have to worry about is civic and cultural literacies: American culture, governance, and history, domestic diversity, and world culture. And those can overlap with your arts and humanities and social science, but they can't overlap between each other. So you can, a popular course is history, 17A, which counts as American culture, governance, and history, and domestic diversity, and a world culture, but it can only count as one of those. But it can count as a social science and American culture, governance, and history. You don't have to remember that. That's what we're here for. You can always ask us if you have any questions, and I'll link all of this to you. An example of this in a second. At the end of the presentation, I'll link on how you can access the advising packet. But within your advising packet is a GE worksheet where it tells you specifically what classes count for what. Things in highlight are the areas you need to worry about. Your science and engineering are obviously satisfied by your major, so you don't have to worry about that too much. Here are all your major courses that satisfy the certain subsections. So the highlighted parts are really all that you have to worry about. But again, we'll help you fill this out during your advising sessions. I have a question regarding the English requirement. If a student was to take a class that covers you writing 001 at a local community college, will that help cover for the entry-level writing requirement? If that transfers over as one of our lower division writing courses, then yes. There's a great tool out there called assist.org that you can use. But again, during your Aggie advising appointment, we can go over and take a look at all the courses and see which ones satisfy for what. All right. Any other questions, either related to GE or not? I have a question that said, I had a friend who took an English class freshman year, which qualified for freshman English, however, did not serve as a prereq for higher English. I'll get into that in a second. Not all the lower division English courses are the same for each major and each college. Each one requires a different one. So your friend might have not taken the right one for their major or college. So I would really strongly discourage all of you comparing your schedules to anyone outside of our major. I would even discourage you from comparing within the major, because all of you are going to be doing this at different paces and different ways, and each of you have your own unique situations. When you start trying to compare your schedule to others, it really becomes apples to oranges, and that's where mistakes and delays in graduation occurs. So if you ever have a question regarding your schedule, I would encourage you to talk to an advisor first before trying to compare it with your friends. So speaking about college-specific writing requirements, so the writing requirements for the College of Engineering are broken into two parts: a lower division English composition, which can only be satisfied by one of two ways. Either you got a high enough AP/IB score, or you completed UWP 1, English 3, COM 1, 2, 3, or 4, or NSA 5. UOWP means University Writing Program. ELN is English. COM is comparative literature. I forget where the M comes from. And NSA is Native American Studies. You must satisfy the entry-level writing requirement prior to taking a lower division English composition course. And then the last thing, so the best way to think about this, Maria provided this example to me and I like it, is think of your writing as a cake. Your biggest tier is your entry-level writing requirement. Your middle tier is that lower division writing composition, and then the top tier is this last one, which is the upper division English composition. So the English composition can only be satisfied again by one of two ways. There's either an exam that you have to do, which is a very tough exam. It's only offered once a quarter. You can only take it once a quarter, and after two fails, you have to take the class. I encourage you to only take the exam if you're very comfortable writing in a timed environment. I will be honest to you, I did not graduate from UC Davis, but I graduated from Sac State, and the writing programs are very similar. I failed my exam and then went on to get a master's that is all about writing. So it's not always the easiest of exams. So your other option is taking a course, completion of UWP 102E, F, 104A, E, or T. As you can see, there's a little asterisk next to the E. That's because the E starts for engineering. And within the next year or so, we're going to get rid of all the other options except for UWP 102E. And that's going to be the only options, either that or the exam, as part of your upper division requirement. So I encourage you all just to ignore all the other ones and just plan to take UWP 102E, but right now, currently you have the option to take all of them, but if we do change it in the future, you will be held to those requirements. So you may just want to plan out for UWP 102E, just as a heads up. So other specific to our college, pass, no pass versus letter grade, you may be very familiar with pass, no pass coming from your high school during this past year of remote instruction. The college has decided to revert back to our original policy regarding pass, no pass. What that means is all coursework used to satisfy for your college requirements towards your degree or any coursework offered by the College of Engineering must be taken for a letter grade. So A, B, C, D, E, or no E, F. You cannot use pass, no pass for any major coursework, and that includes math, chemistry, physics, your writing courses, or any material science course or engineering course. Students may exercise pass, no pass though for GE, which writing is not a part of, or unrestricted electives, which means course is not part of your degree, taken outside of the College of Engineering for up to 16 units. Basically, I encourage you all just not to bother using pass, no pass, unless it's really dire. Another example, UC for a lot of our classes, a D- or higher is considered passing, except for your core fundamental major courses. So, but a pass, no pass requires a C- or higher to receive a pass. So it's actually easier to pass with a letter grade than pass, no pass. But if you're even thinking about doing pass, no pass, please talk to myself, or any of my advising team, or Cindy and her advising team. So major requirements. This is the meat and potatoes. So your lower division requirements require about 79 units. Your upper division requirements require 78 to 83 units, depending on a few flexible electives. Your focus electives are 12 units, and for the total amount of the major, it's about 157 to 162, and that's not adding in any GEs you have to do. So what I'm going to do now is go over the degree requirements worksheet that's going to be included in your advising packet. So this is a good checklist thing to use. It lists all the different requirements that we have for our major, including the English composition requirement. all your lower division requirements. And as you can see, we list the course, the title, the units, when is it offered. And as you can see, some things aren't offered every quarter, and the prereq requirements. So lower division wise, we have 6 math classes you have to take: Calc 1, 2, and 3, technically Calc 4, but it's called vector analysis, linear algebra, and differential equations. For your major, we do require the entire physics series, physics 9A, B, C, and D, and we require the entire intro to general chemistry, Chem 2A, B, and C. As you can imagine, we have some engineering courses that you have to take. So again, there's that EMS 2 class I talked about. Engineering 3 is a good introduction to engineering courses because it's a team-based project where you have to design a certain element. For the last year, it's been designing products for seniors as part of our School of Medicine caregiver program. It's a really cool thing. I am a judge each quarter, so I encourage you to join because it's always fun to see my own students. Chemical Engineering 60 is our programming class where we teach you Python and you learn Python. So if there's a programming language you want to learn ahead of time, I encourage you to start playing around with Python. And then Engineering 45, this is your real introduction to the major. This is what every other upper division course in material science is based off of. This is a really good, if you are taking 45 and you're thinking, I'm not enjoying this major, you let us know at that time, because that is kind of the gateway to all your other courses. You do get to do one engineering elective, either circuits or statistics or statics. Which one is up to you, but if you want advice, you can always meet with your major advisor on which one you want to take. Going into your upper division courses, and these aren't in any specific order, you have your engineering course. This is more of a ethics course in terms of engineering. Your material science fundamentals. We have a lot of lab work, so you have at least 4 dedicated lab courses. Application of materials, 170, 180, and 182, and then your senior project being 188A and 188B, where you work with a company on a project that they're working on. And most of the time, I mean, we couldn't do it this past year or so, but you traditionally go to their labs and work on in their labs, or you they send you products to test, stuff like that. Then there's a processing of materials course elective. You can choose one or the other. We do have an applied math elective you have to complete, a basic science elective, and then you have 12 units of focus electives. Again, I don't expect you to memorize or write any of this down. We will be going over this with you over the next 4 years, but it's encourage you to plan early. Again, this is going to be a part of a link to an advising packet that I'm going to share with everyone either today who was at the presentation and via email as well later today. You also already have this link, to be honest. This is now found, if I can control my windows. This is included in the Aggie advising for new students link that was sent out in the communication email. It's under advising packet, along with your first quarter material science recommendations and a 4-year plan that I'm going to go over in a second. So this 4-year plan, this is kind of the example of the classes you'll take each quarter. Because we are a relatively small major, we only offer the material science or anything that says EMS once a year. So whatever it is on this 4-year plan, that is where we offered it. There is not much flexibility in when we're offering courses. So it's very important that you plan out things ahead of time. If you feel like you're failing a course, you need to let us know so we can develop plans. Some key courses, if you miss taking them when you need to, will delay graduation by a year. Unfortunately, it's just the nature of our program. It's not to scare you or anything, or it's just to let you know planning is very key for our major, just due to the small nature of our population, that we don't have the population or the resources to offer every course every quarter. Any questions about any of that? I know that was quite a lot. Again, don't worry about your focus electives now, but starting your end of sophomore, junior year, I encourage you to reach out to start planning out all your electives. We are a pretty elective focused major. So for your fall quarter registration, included in that advising packet I just shared with you, here's the link to it as well, is the first quarter recommendations. So for your first quarter, we recommend you take Math 21A, Chemistry 2A, your either entry-level writing course or lower division college composition course, and a GE. Your math and chemistry and your writing all depends on your placement exams. For Math 21A, if you didn't get into 21A, then I encourage you to take Math 12. Do not take 16A or 17A as they do not relate to your major. For Chemistry 2A, some of you may have been invited to join either the University Honors Program or had a high enough placement exam to enroll in Chemistry 2AH. I only encourage you to sign up for the honors section if you're in the honors program and you intend to stay in the honors program for all 4 years. Otherwise, I really strongly encourage you to take 2A, as taking the 2AH, most students decide by the second quarter to opt out of the honors program or honors courses. And they teach it in different ways that switching back and forth is not advisable. If you have satisfied the entry-level writing requirement or the English course, or you couldn't get into an English course this quarter, then you can sub it out with a GE. Again, I will be going over all of this with you individually during your Aggie advising appointment via Oasis, where we have a plan for you by the end of today. So you don't have to figure this out all on your own. We've already done all this for you for your whole first year. Some notes: you shouldn't take more than 3 STEM courses in any given quarter, just due to workload. Calculus is very important. If you do not take 21A this quarter, I'm going to recommend you start planning for summer session next year to stay on track for 4-year graduation. If you're starting Math 12, then you're going to take Math 21C and D probably over the summer, either here or at a community college, or if you delay math. Any delay in math will delay graduation unless you're willing to make up for it during summer session, unfortunately. Chemistry is not that big of a concern. And again, English you just have to do before the end of your first year, but math is top priority for you during your first 2 years. And there's a few goals, recommended goals, and AP, IB score explanation. The only score we really recommend is chemistry. Even if you get scores of 4 or 5 on all the AP calculus, we really recommend you just start at 21A. Students who start in 21B tend to fail at a much higher rate than students who start in 21A, and then you fail, then you have to go back, and it's not advisable. If you really want to skip 21A and you have the capability to do so, I encourage you to talk with me during your Aggie advising session, so we can just talk you through all the steps and make sure you're keenly aware. But taking it early is not going to move up the graduation needle. You cannot graduate faster than 4 years in our program, just again due to the timing of our classes. So there's no way to rush through our program. So it's a 4-year program no matter what. I kind of just went over this already, but yeah, encourage you to sign up for 2A. Math 12 or 21, do not do 16 or 7. If you have any questions, please reach out to us as soon as possible. AP scores cannot be used to satisfy GE requirements. So the only ones we really care about are English, math for your AP scores. So advising holds. You may also see that there's an option for 21M. 21M is kind of like an honors section for 21 series. Again, I don't recommend it. I encourage you to shoot for 21A. But if you really want to take 21M, please talk with me during your Aggie advising appointment or send me an email. Again, most students who try to take these accelerated or honors program classes tend to be in for bite off more than they can chew, especially with their first quarter. So I encourage you to search for 21 to enroll in 21A. But if you want to do 21B, to just speak with an advisor first. Advising holds. So you are required to meet with an advisor once a year based on your class level. Failure to release your advising hold will prevent you by the deadline, will prevent you from signing up for classes or making any changes to your classes for the following quarter. As for those of you who completed Aggie 101, you know about Pass 1 and Pass 2. A hold will go into effect after Pass 1, but before Pass 2, preventing you from signing up for certain courses that are locked behind major restrictions, or we're just waiting to add more seats. You won't be able to drop classes either. So I encourage you to clear your hold as early as possible. For freshmen, for your first year, you need to clear it by the start of December during your fall quarter. For your sophomore and senior year and beyond, it's before spring quarter. So do it during fall and winter before March. And then for your junior year, it takes effect after your spring quarter. So try to complete it before May. So what do we expect from you? We expect you to attend annual advising appointment every year, and then to have a 3-quarter academic plan prepared in advance. We will explain how to do that during your first meeting with us, so you don't have to worry about that for your first meeting. Come prepared and ask questions or have materials for discussion. Really, you can ask us anything. We're kind of as your bridge and ambassadors to the UC Davis community. So please feel free to reach out to us for anything, even if it's not material science related. I encourage you to establish goals, have things to work towards, be open to feedback and alternative solutions. We may not always have the exact answer you're looking for, but we will help you find an answer. Understand and be knowledgeable about your degree requirements and university policies and procedures. UC Davis does have a policy. It is on the students to understand their policy, all the policies and procedures related to your situation. So unfortunately, even though we are here to help you, you are responsible for knowing what is required of you. We can help you discover that, but I encourage you to seek out resources to make yourself aware of policies that impact you. And we'll help you with that, including the catalog. Our website is really great. We're really transparent with all our policies. But I encourage you to read it up on your own as well. And it's okay to ask for help. Seriously, please ask us anything, either my office or the engineering undergrad office. All of us went to school, some of us multiple times. We've sat in your situations. Some of us have STEM degrees. Cindy here graduated with a chemistry degree. I technically have a minor in computer science and cybersecurity. So, and I've been a STEM advisor, College of Engineering advisor for a long time now, almost 5 to 7 years. So we have a lot of experience, and we encourage you to ask us for any help that you need. That being said, I can't help with homework. But I can help you on where to find help for your homework, but I'm not going to be able to answer your math questions. So what is expected from us is accessibility. We have drop-ins pretty much every day. We also have appointments, and we also have emails that we're pretty quick on responding. We'll listen to your questions and concerns. We'll provide you honest feedback. We'll help you explore problems and seek solutions. We'll help you clarify academic goals. Develop a plan for achieving your academic success and goals, help you understand your degree requirements, make appropriate referrals if there's something we can't do in-house, and maintain confidentiality pursuant to FERPA. The short version of that is we cannot divulge any information about you to anyone else unless you give us your consent. So if your parents call me, I can't tell them you even exist until I get your consent. We won't provide your information to anyone else. UC Davis is pretty secure on that front. So please feel confident that we're keeping you and your information safe. So some academic FAQs. Some common questions. How many units do I need to take each quarter? The bare minimum to maintain four-year graduation and for financial aid is 12 units. So 12 units for financial aid and 12 units for minimum progress. Again, if you watch Aggie 101, you should be aware of good standing academic probation, and that's related to minimum progress. And if you want to stay on track for 4 to 5 year graduation, 12 units for 5 year graduation, and 15 to 16 for 4 year graduation. If I do poorly, can I repeat a class? Yes, you can repeat it and repair. So anything that's a D plus or lower, up to 16 units, though I encourage you to speak with an advisor when you plan to do so. If I can't get into a required course, reach out to us ASAP. It shouldn't be an issue for any material science course, as we manage the seats pretty well. But if you can't get into a math, chemistry, or physics or an elective course, please reach out to us. There are some alternatives we may be able to help you with. But if you waited until the last minute, say I couldn't get into this class 10 days into the quarter, we may not be able to help you at that point. So earlier is always better. So resources, we have so many that if you can't find one that you need, you didn't look hard enough. There's us, the Department of Advising. Right now we're on appointments only, but we'll be introducing drop-ins again in the fall. Your professors, they all have office hours when they're teaching. They can provide great research opportunities, career and graduate school advice and guidance, and much more. Campus resources include, but are not limited to, financial aid, student disability centers, student health and counseling, academic assistance and tutoring, Office of Student Support and Judicial Affairs, AB 540, LGBTQIA Resource Center, Internship and Career Center, the Undergrad Research Center, and so much more. We have so many resources here that are underutilized, so I encourage you to seek out these resources. They have a lot of great benefits, so I encourage you, and nearly all of them are free to join and use, so I encourage you to partake. Also, your fellow students, they're great for peer advising in terms of like where to go for resources, tutoring, and group work. Again, this department, or this major is not one you can do on your own, so I strongly encourage you to form groups to study with. And then a computer recommendation. We don't need anything top of tier, top of the line. What you have probably already, if you've survived remote instruction this past year on it, is going to be fine. We have tons of computer labs on campus for when you return in the fall, so you don't have to worry about having top tier programming stuff. But it's recommended you have a laptop, and it can be a Windows, a Mac, or a Linux. Any of those will work out. So to be successful in engineering, I encourage you to go to class, develop study skills early, utilize resources, work in groups, find balance, and know when to ask for help early and often. And the animation on this slide is a little messed up. But the triangle of success, study, sleep, and socialize. You find a balance between those three things and you will be successful. You know, you may have been used to cramming before a test the night before, but I strongly recommend you get at least 8 hours of sleep before any big test. Your brain can just download the information you put into it and it's ready to access it the following day. It's also great to get away from school and studying and socialize with your peers. I've seen many job opportunities occur because someone talked to another student in their class and there was a research opportunity where they were interning and they got a job together. So I encourage you to reach out to everyone. And of course, to be successful is to study. For every hour you're in a class, it's recommended you do 2 hours of study outside of a class. And that conversion is usually easy for units. So if you take a 3-unit class, which usually means 3 hours in the class, you need to do 6 hours outside of the class per week for studying. So time management is going to become very key, and that's something we'll talk about during your first advising appointments. It's got to spin. So get involved. Here are some great clubs that we have. Do something that you enjoy. You can do study abroad. You can take a class for fun. We have a couple different offerings, including experimental college, the Arts and Crafts Center, PE courses, freshman seminar. There's the campus recreation, outdoor adventures, the ARC, intramural sports, and join a club, AICHE, Mask for Material Science, SWE, Society of Women Engineers, and all ISPE, and many more. Also do research. We do offer undergrad research, so I encourage you to connect with your faculty early, and we usually accept juniors and seniors for research opportunities. And then when you succeed, so this is the end goal. This is the final group photo you take for material science. You're on the left, obviously the smaller one, but this is kind of the end goal. The day we hope you all make it, and we'll be able to take your photo and add it to our long hallway of graduating classes. So this is the end of the presentation. The remaining part will stay open for Q&A. I will send the link I already shared with you again in an email later today, including posting the recording of this presentation on there. That link also takes you to schedule an appointment with myself if you haven't done so already. I strongly encourage you to make an appointment before the end of the week, by the end of the week, for the remainder of June or July. The advising appointments will close near the end of July, so I encourage you to make them early. But if you have any questions, you can contact us at msc-advising@ucdavis.edu, and I'll go to any one of your advisors or all of us, and the first one who's able to respond will. As I said, I am a little short staffed right now, so please give me 12 to 24 hours to respond to your question, but I will respond. But so is there any questions, comments, concerns? If there's not, you're more than welcome to leave. Just keep an eye out for my email later today.
So at least for me, I've been currently, I just finished AP Calc, and I told you this in an email, Mr. Gorsiski, but I am planning on, well, actually later today, I'm going to be taking my Calc 2 course. I don't want to skip to MAT, what is it? 1B, I mean MAT 21B. My intention isn't to skip to Calc 2, but I would like to take the honors course.
Okay.
Even, are there any prerequisites for that course, or is it just if I pass the test, I get to go into it?
It's recommended you have a score of 5 on the AP score, AP test.
That's the kind of the issue, because I took AB, it wants a 5 for the prerequisite for BC.
Well, it's a recommendation. It's not a prereq. So you can,
all right.
As long as you get the necessary placement exam, then that's all that technically you need.
All right. Also, you two, thank you very much for your help. I know I've been pestering you with questions, but this is significant to me.
No, of course, that's what we're here for. It's not pestering. Any other questions?
Yeah, just this is a more of a personal question, Mr.
Fine.
Boriski. You mentioned having sending resources out to us.